and friends. What follows is massive support and togetherness as a family. But this is not the case for Kevin Ogungu and Virginia Nyaranga, who after suffering illnesses have been left with only a few people to look after them. Nananok Loren caught up with them and filed the following report, The Aching Hearts.
Happy and cheerful times draw attention to huge crowds. But what about serious illnesses, those that drain family members financially, emotionally, you name it, to a point of some walking away, leaving the load to a few? This is The Aching Hearts. Before the year 2002, Kevin Ogungu Odero, who is a chef by profession, was one reliable man. He could sustain his family, including his 2 daughters. It is now 18 years since he was diagnosed with throat cancer, which began as a small pimple in his mouth and was treated shortly after. Life resumed normalcy until 2010, when the cancer recurred, this time round very aggressively, forcing him to begin his radio and chemotherapy.
In 2010, I think it came back and it reoccurred, the cancer reoccurred. Now it was very, okay, I can say it came back heavily than way before. Yeah, sure. So that's when he started getting now the radiations, the chemos, the surgery.
So far, he has undergone 2 rounds of chemotherapy, each consisting of 8 sessions, a procedure that has caused a major side effect on his left hand.
If you can see his hand, the chemo inamchoma, it forms stuff like blisters on the hand. So wherever the meds passes, it burns.
While under the chemo sessions, his diet is altered and cannot survive without a sip of water every now and then.
He has to eat blended food, of which if you cook ugali, you have to cook it with kienyeji vegetables and all that. And also if it's beans, you have to blend them, and for the rice it has to really cook. Yeah, equal that. Yeah, sticky. Yeah, and it takes a lot of water, because after he went through the radiation, it kind of affected his glands. So his tongue is always dry, so he has to take water regularly to keep the mouth moist.
With all these tasks that his firstborn daughter Stephanie Ogungu has to attend to, she at times has to sacrifice her interior design classes to tend to her ailing father.
Sometimes I have to miss classes to come and take care of him, or I just go to school and then I come midday, because I have to cook for him. He has to take something. So sometimes I go for some classes, I miss others. Yeah, and also I also miss school sometimes to take him to the hospital.
Earlier on, Kevin's family was one complete family, but after falling sick, the mother of the family was no more. The year was 2011, when Stephanie's sister was a toddler.
It has affected us really, I can't lie, because as a mother, there is that love that you give to your family. Even if things are not okay, you feel like, yeah, we are doing good, we can do this, you get. So there is that love that we lack, there is that motivation that we lack.
She realizes that she had to step in, take up the role and fill in the void. She admits that the situation could have been better if she were around. A burden would be off her shoulder.
Things could be better since we are both schooling, me and my sister, and if she could be here, I wouldn't miss some classes, things would go smoothly. She would be there to take care of my dad. Yeah, so it's never the same.
At this point, Kevin encountered an excruciating headache that was unbearable. Shortly after Steele's training, alluded that he is still fighting for his life because of his two precious daughters, who are a source of motivation to him.
Tuelewa watoto wangu hapa, wao wananipea moral sana. Kwa moral, tulisholewa watoto wananipea straight sana.
Kevin's youngest brother, Joseph Oyuga, who on this day paid him a visit, acknowledges that receiving medical treatment in the middle of a pandemic has been a huge tussle. The fight did not end there.
Just traveling from here to Kenyatta, because sometimes you have to use public transport. Yeah, was not very easy. Was not an easy thing. Sometimes you even face stigma. You can see the way people are looking at your brother when he's passing by, and with that thought of there is an epidemic or a pandemic around, and when they look at him, they may think that maybe he's one of them, not knowing that he's suffering from another different kind of disease. There is usually a queue, and definitely you have to book in advance. And now that COVID was around, now even things got slower. Yes, you would access medication, but you see, if you had to book for maybe a week before you can go for your first session, now this time you have to make sure that you book as early as possible. And booking as early as possible, that is a financial obligation. So sometimes you don't even have that cash.
In Nairobi's Gumba estate is yet another aching family. A while back, Virginia Nyaranga was a self-sufficient, hard-working businesswoman based in Narok. It is when she paid a visit to her sister in Ruiru town that she accidentally fell and sustained head injuries that caused internal bleeding and shortly after blood clots that called for a head surgery. And upon seeking medical attention from close to 4 hospitals, she resulted in a stroke.
Tukaenda Mpisha, huko niko alifanyiwa surgery. So after the stroke, maisha yake ilibadilika, haizi ongea, haizi tembea, hakuna kitu anaweza jifanyia.
With pain, her only daughter, Margaret Nduta, says it has not been easy seeing her mother in this state of hopelessness.
Si rahisi, ni ngumu kabisa. Juu unajua umezoea kuongea na mtu, umezoea kucheka naye, so unaona hawezi, hata hakuna communication, haijakuwa rahisi, imekuwa ngumu kabisa. Kumuona hivyo, kumuona hajiwezi, na ni mtu anajua kujitafutia, ni mtu hakai chini apewe, anajitafutia yake. Haijakuwa rahisi kuona inabidi umtafutie ama umuombe, haijakuwa rahisi.
She has appreciated every milestone her mother, who has since lost her speech but luckily retained her sense of hearing and sight, has achieved so far. She says it is a slow but sure process. She is at peace now that her mother is close to receiving home care treatment, and though fully dependent, she has her undivided attention.
Unaona tu ka change kadogo. Kila siku maybe leo utaona amesukuma mguu ya right. Siku nyingine amefungua macho, tulianza akafungua macho, hapo anafungua macho. Siku hizi anafungua macho, anajiangalilia vitu. So kuna zile improvement polepole zinakuja tu, but ni polepole. Si kitu utaamka kesho upate iko. Unaweza hata maliza miezi kadhaa before hujaona any change. Kitu kingine mzuri na nyumbani, venye utalisha mgonjwa wako si venye atalisha hospitali. Venye unajua unampea 100% care. Hakuna kugawa ama nini. Unajua ukiwa na wagonjwa wengi hospitali, mtu akona divided attention. Nyumbani unampea the attention she deserves.
Although many have stayed away from her ailing mother during this needy period, over time she has learned to appreciate that things may not always go her way.
Ngumu. So I guess mtu akiwa na shida, watu wengi hawapendi kukuja mahali pana shida. So watu wanapotea, but kila mtu hukuja wakati wake.
Virginia's immediate support system, including her sister-in-law, admits they have to put in extra effort every day to meet her medical costs, and when it is too hard to bear, arrears was an option.
Tumeweka titles, tumejaribu kuuzauza vitu, tunaona bado. Tumejaribu kuchagisha, tumefanya harambee, lakini unajua mambo na harambee, kuna venye umefanya once, umefanya twice, huwezi jitana tena. Ni challenge, na venye maisha imepelekwa na hii COVID, so ni kustruggle sana, especially for her daughter. She has been struggling so much. Ni lazima ang'ang'ane kila siku, ni lazima aende kazini, akijua mamake amemwacha amelala, lakini lazima aende kazini ndio ang'ang'ane.
Virginia is entirely a bedridden patient. In a day, she roughly takes in 15 tablets, which are portioned and put in small containers. They are then crushed and administered directly into the stomach.
Almost about 15 tabs in a day, thereabout, because she has morning, lunch, and dinner. So we segment them in, these are her morning meds. So as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for one time. And dinner is the same. And then lunch is about 2 meds, 2 tablets only. So that's how we crush them and then we put them in a tube.
And when it comes to feeding, the order of the day sticks to 300 milliliters of food and 200 milliliters of water at an interval of 3 hours.
We have to measure her food. It's not like us who eat per plate. So for her, she eats 300 ml for food, and then she has 200 ml for water. So you start with water and then food and then water. Yeah. Okay. So we feed in 3 hours intervals. So if you feed 7 in the morning, you feed 10, then 1, then 4, and then 7 and 10.
It is evident that many tend to turn away from such situations that befall family members, situations that need oneness, that are unfortunately left for the chosen few. Pain and agony will forever remain in the hearts of these families, whose members, after suffering serious ailments, have only a few to look after them, and all that remains are aching hearts. Nanok Lauren, TV 47.
Quite a distressful situation there. Thank you so much, Nanok Lauren, for that report. Thank you so much for staying with us.